Have you ever really questioned why you believe what you believe? Most of us inherit our beliefs from family, friends, and the culture around us, rarely stopping to ask if they're actually true. We live in echo chambers, repeating what everyone else says because it feels safe and familiar. Society hands us a script: go to college, get a job, buy a house, save for retirement. It's presented as the only path to success. These ideas are everywhere: movies, TV, family gatherings, so they start to feel like facts. But what if they're just popular opinions, not universal truths? Who decided this was the only way? The comfort of routine can be costly, especially when the world changes faster than the advice we're given. We're still playing by old rules, never questioning who wrote them. Maybe it's time to ask, whose interests do these beliefs really serve? So where do these powerful ideas come from? Not just from your cousin Ray hyping the latest crypto. The real architects are the rich and powerful, the 1% who own companies, banks, and media. They set the rules and control the narrative, making their interests seem like common sense. They want us to believe the system is fair, that hard work alone leads to success, and that their wealth is just genius and grit. If we buy in, we don't question why the wealth gap keeps growing. These narratives aren't random. They're crafted to benefit those at the top. For many, especially in marginalized communities, the message is, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, even if you never had boots. They mix truth with spin, selling dreams but hiding the real cost. It's a subtle game, and the stakes are high. The question is, are we playing by their rules or our own? To see how these narratives are built, meet Edward Bernays, Freud's nephew and the father of modern propaganda. Bernays realized you don't sell products, you sell feelings, identities, and dreams. He engineered consent, making people believe ideas were their own. His most famous move? Linking cigarettes to women's liberation, turning smoking into a symbol of empowerment. Suddenly, buying a product was making a statement. Bernays proved that if you tap into people's emotions and aspirations, you can shape their choices. This playbook is still used today. Selling cars as freedom, politicians as hope. The goal: bypass critical thinking and trigger emotion. When we feel instead of think, we're easier to lead. That's the real power behind the messages we hear every day. Let's tackle a sacred belief, something deeply ingrained in our culture, that buying a home is the best investment you can make. Period. We're told from a young age that it's the cornerstone of the American dream, the ultimate symbol of success and stability. It's presented as the golden key to unlocking wealth and financial security for generations to come. But is it always, truly, unequivocally true? Or is there more to the story? A house is undeniably an asset, a tangible thing of value that can appreciate over time. But it's also a massive liability, a financial drain that demands constant attention and resources. Beyond the hefty mortgage payments, you're constantly shelling out money for property taxes, which can fluctuate wildly. Then there's insurance, a necessary expense to protect against unforeseen disasters and liabilities. And let's not forget the endless repairs, the constant maintenance that comes with owning a home. Appreciation isn't guaranteed. In fact, it's subject to market forces beyond your control. Just ask anyone who bought a home right before a major market crash. They'll tell you a different story. Location can absolutely make or break your investment. A desirable neighborhood is key. Ultimately, it's a gamble, not a sure thing, despite what we're often led to believe. So why is this deeply ingrained belief so powerful, so pervasive in our society? Largely because it benefits banks, who profit handsomely from the interest on mortgages. It also benefits real estate agents, who earn substantial commissions on every home sale. And it benefits the government, which relies on property taxes to fund essential services. For over a century, from the 1860s to 2000, U.S. housing prices simply tracked inflation. But after 2000, Federal Reserve actions, like buying mortgage-backed securities and quantitative easing, along with government subsidies and liquidity, artificially pushed prices much higher. When these interventions stopped, prices stagnated or even fell. This is a classic case of money illusion. Nominally, median home prices are up over 1,100% in the last 50 years. Adjusted for the CPI, they're up 490%. But by the classical definition of inflation, they're actually down 44%. That means, in real terms, housing has lost value, despite the headlines. The entire system profits from mortgages, from the commissions paid out, and from the stability that homeownership provides to communities and the population at large. For some individuals, renting and strategically investing their money elsewhere could potentially build significantly more wealth over the long term. But that's simply not the story we're constantly being sold through advertising and societal pressure. The prevailing narrative keeps us buying into the idea of homeownership, even when, for many, it may not actually be the most financially sound move. It's time to critically question the assumptions and ask ourselves, who really benefits? Who truly wins when we all blindly chase the same singular dream? Maybe, just maybe, the reality of the American dream is far more complicated, far more nuanced than we've been led to believe. Let's talk about inflation, a word we hear constantly. The official number, the Consumer Price Index, CPI, says inflation is 3% or 5%, but your bills feel way higher. That's not your imagination. The definition of inflation was changed to benefit the powerful. It used to mean expanding the money supply. Now it's just about price changes in a basket of goods. This shift took the blame off governments and central banks for printing money. Now, rising prices are blamed on everything but their policies. The CPI is a vague, complicated statistic most people don't understand. This lets those in power print money, enrich their friends, and dodge responsibility. They control the narrative by controlling definitions. Meanwhile, you're left wondering where your money went. It's a shell game, and we're the ones paying the price. Understanding the real cost is the first step to seeing through the illusion. Let's dig into the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. It's the so-called measure of inflation that everyone talks about, but how accurate is it really? We need to understand what it is, how it's calculated, and more importantly, how it might be misleading us. The government uses tricks like substitution and hedonic adjustments to massage the numbers. These aren't just minor tweaks. They fundamentally alter how inflation is perceived. The goal? To make inflation look lower than it actually is. It's a carefully crafted illusion designed to keep the public from fully understanding the true cost of living. If steak gets too expensive and people start balking at the price, they swap it for ground beef in the basket that they use to calculate the CPI. It's a convenient way to keep the overall cost down on paper. Your standard of living drops because you're forced to buy cheaper alternatives, but the CPI barely moves, masking the real impact on your wallet. Hedonic adjustments mean if your new phone is better, has more features, and a faster processor. The price hike doesn't count as inflation because, hey, you're getting more for your money, right? You can't buy the old model at the old price anymore, it's simply not available. But the stats say you're not paying more, even though you're forced to spend more for a replacement. Add up these tricks, these statistical sleights of hand, and the official inflation number becomes a fantasy, divorced from the reality experienced by everyday people. It keeps government costs down, because many social programs are tied to the CPI, and lets corporations claim your raise keeps up with inflation, even when it doesn't, allowing them to suppress wage growth. The result? A statistical illusion, a carefully constructed narrative that hides how fast your money is losing value, eroding your purchasing power. The system is designed to benefit those in power, not you, widening the gap between the rich and the poor. If you feel like you're falling behind, struggling to make ends meet, you probably are. The numbers are rigged to tell a comforting story, a narrative that doesn't reflect reality. But reality is what you live, the prices you pay, the struggles you face, not what they report in the news or what the government claims. Don't let the illusion fool you. Question the numbers, trust your experience, and understand the true cost of living. Another widespread belief that's often touted is that you absolutely have to be in the stock market because, as the saying goes, stocks only go up. It's a catchy phrase, isn't it? It's designed to instill confidence and encourage participation, but is it really the full picture? Let's delve a little deeper into this common assumption. The S&P 500 chart, with its seemingly relentless upward trajectory, can certainly look like a guaranteed path to wealth accumulation. It paints a rosy picture of consistent growth and effortless returns. But, and this is a crucial but, it's not the whole story. There are nuances and hidden factors that these simplified charts often fail to capture. Those seemingly impressive charts don't account for the silent wealth eroder, inflation. If your portfolio manages to grow by, say, 7% in a year, but your cost of living jumps a staggering 10%, you're not actually gaining ground. You're losing purchasing power. You're effectively becoming poorer, despite the apparent growth in your investments. Furthermore, the long run, which is often used as a justification for market participation, can unfortunately mean decades of stagnation, where your investments simply tread water, failing to outpace inflation or provide any meaningful returns. Or even worse, sudden and devastating crashes. Just ask anyone who was unfortunate enough to retire right before or during the 2008 financial crisis. Their retirement dreams were likely shattered, at least temporarily. The smooth, consistently upward-sloping line that's often presented conveniently hides years of potential losses and significant volatility. And perhaps most importantly, a great deal of uncertainty about your financial future. Wall Street, unsurprisingly, loves this particular narrative, because it keeps a steady stream of money flowing in and those lucrative fees rolling up for them. They desperately want you to believe that participating in the stock market is a can't-lose game, a surefire path to riches. But remember, they're the house. And historically, the house almost always wins in the long run. Few people seem to question whether the market is currently overvalued or, more fundamentally, if the underlying companies that make up the market are actually financially healthy and sustainable. Ultimately, the system is inherently built to benefit those who are managing your money, not necessarily you, the investor. It's a brilliant piece of marketing and persuasive storytelling, but it's definitely not a guarantee of financial success. So don't just blindly follow the crowd. Take the time to truly understand the potential risks involved. The reality of investing in the stock market is far more complicated and nuanced than those simple, reassuring charts would have you believe. Your financial future is far too important to be entrusted to a catchy slogan or a simplistic chart. It deserves careful planning, diligent research, and a healthy dose of skepticism. The S&P 500 is sold as a snapshot of the whole economy, but it's not that simple. It's dominated by a handful of giant tech companies when they soar. The whole index looks great, even if most companies are struggling. This concentration is risky. If one giant stumbles, everyone feels it. The index isn't as diversified as it seems, it's more a bet on big tech. Then there's survivorship bias, losers get kicked out, winners get added. This guarantees the chart always trends up, hiding the real risks. It's like only counting championship teams and ignoring the rest. The numbers are designed to look good, not to tell the whole truth. Don't be fooled by rosy charts, dig deeper. Real investing means understanding what's behind the numbers. Since the 1950s, the S&P 500 is up over 7,000% nominally, but only 93% in real terms by the classical definition of inflation. This chart shows the difference between nominal and real returns, reminding us that headline numbers can be deceiving. So what's the real lesson here? Don't blindly follow the script. Question the financial advice you hear. Ask who benefits if you believe it. The system is built to serve those at the top, not you. Learn to spot the tricks, changing definitions, misleading stats, and emotional marketing. Dig into the numbers yourself. Understand the difference between nominal and real returns. Your personal inflation rate matters more than any official number. Trust the math, not the marketing. Real financial freedom means breaking out of the echo chamber and building your own playbook. Have honest conversations, especially in your community, about what really works. Don't just follow the script. Start writing your own.